Let's go right in the psukim. There we go. Vayikach Korach, and Korach took, and the pasuk will not tell us what he took. So starting all the mefarshim, explaining each one why the pasuk muted the answer. What did he take? Then we go on his pedigree, Ben Yitzhar, Ben Kehas, Ben Levi, as if he asks us anything. And when we're going to talk about Dasan Vaviram, we don't go any further than that. Why by Korach we had to go 3 generations? Ben Yitzhar, every word in the Torah is here to teach us something. So what is the pasuk here coming to teach by giving us his yichus all the way up to Levi? Staying away from Yaakov, because Yaakov davened not to be mixed up. And why didn't Levi daven too? Not to be mentioned in Korach. You can see that on the next pasuk, we're not going to mention the name of the 270 people, despite the fact that they were Nesiye Eida, the Nesim of the Eida. We know them from Chanukah HaMizbeach, but they're not mentioned. Why was Korach mentioned? Why was that Dasan Va'aviram mentioned? The global question here, is, how did Korach, number one, not learn from Miriam, who did not speak bad about her brothers? She just assessed the situation in order to make peace between what she thought the fight between Moshe and Tzipora. That's all. She was punished with Taras. Then we had the Meraglim. They did worse. However, their intention was not that bad because they wanted to remain in the Midbar to learn the Torah of the first Luchos from Moshe Rabbeinu. He was the only one who knew that Torah. Then, as soon as we go into Eretz Yisrael, we'll have to learn the Torah of the second Luchos. We call it the Torah of the Svekes. There's nothing clear. There's always a discussion about a din. In the first Luchos, there is no suffix. There's no Machlokes. There's nothing. Only in the second Luchos, because of the chet of the ego that fell, the Torah fell from its elevation and Svekes, which are the klipas. We know that suffix is Amalek, fell into the mix. Now, Korach is coming from an angle where everything is bad about what he's doing. How is he thinking that his way will produce results? How is it possible? How is he not scared to fight against Moshe Rabbeinu, which he's so going up to Har Sinai in the fire, which was the Shechina? He went up to Shamayim and came down with the Luchos. That shows the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. You go tell him you're a liar, Chaz v'sham, that you will not order the mitzvahs? I mean, what are you trying to do, Korach? You were such a great person. We're gonna see who he is, because the question will evolve with that. If you have now suddenly second thoughts about following the Torah, don't blame it on Moshe Rabbeinu that he invented the mitzvahs. Do what you got to do. You don't have to go down with even in a worse than you should, meaning with the Machlokes. You saw that, Korach, you saw that HaKadosh Baruch Hu inaugurated the Mishkan, which is the place where the Shekhinah is, together with Kodesh HaBarich, only through Aharon. How can you claim that the kahuna should have not been given to Aharon? You can see the signature of HaKadosh Baruch Hu below on this. So how can you come now and contradict Chaz v'Shalom what HaKadosh Baruch Hu has decided? How is it possible? Didn't Korach know that the outcome of the Machlokes is death? Death. There's no way out of it. So how is it possible that he even started it? How is it possible that he thought, he rationalized that to him, that's not going to happen? We have to go deep into the thought of the inyan of Machlokes and understand what was Korach's intention, and because it's almost impossible to understand, what the Midrashim, what the Zohar is going to reveal us about Korach. First, I want to paint a picture of who the stature of that man, so we can, after that, wonder really, how did he go so low? This is a lesson to each one of us. If we can get through this world and this life without taking part in the Machlokes, then Ashrecha Yisrael Micha Moicha. Then you can say Ashrei to that person that he went through. He could have not been the most religious person. He was not keeping Shabbos, according to the Chumras or whatever. But he was a person that never took part in the Machlokes. That person should look at himself. No matter what goes through in his life, this life is limited. It has a time. That's how long we come to visit that land. But afterward, the wealth and the schar he's going to get is unimaginable. We're going to see. You can have as much Torah as you want. You can have as many mitzvahs as you want. You make one machlokes, you have lost everything. And we're going to see that this comes from the Tanaim Agdoshim. This doesn't come from a pshetlech on the side or kvetch or anything like this. These are huge avenues in this. We spoke enough about the mouth, but this is the mother of the mouth. This is the ultimate gam. There's nothing that's pagan. And I'm going to go in detail in this because I want it to be a cornerstone to anyone who follows that share. He has to understand, Hashem will test us. We will be tested in life more than once. But the rule of thumb is stay away. Oh, yeah, but Ledina, if I ask a Beis Din that I was dead, yes, you can. Yes, you went through a nezek, you can ask and you can do and this and that. However, if you feel you're going to be dragged into hatred, into the mother of all chataim, then you should think for yourself. Is the nezek happen by itself in a vacuum? Or there's ashgacha practice in
est là. J'aurais pu leur laisser un croissant pour elle. Je pas de croissant. Aharon.
Is this happen in a vacuum, or did there's a hashgacha pratis and HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent it to a person? I will tell you how I calm myself. You know, I don't want to get personal, but you have to know each one has a way to get to his heart and to get to his emotions and cancel them. My way, it's a personal way. Maybe it works for you. Maybe you're going to find your own way, but I give you ahead of time. I give you an advice, start working on this. You never know when this is going to hit you, and you can become emotional and you're going to explode, and it's not worth it. Look at it that way. First of all, grow your emunah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mashgiach and Adam neikef etzboi hakoten. Even the little finger, we don't move it unless HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided. This you have to believe that it is one of the truth of the world. There's nothing else besides the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose that person to go after you, to shame you, you have to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu used a stick, a rasha, in order to hit you. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what he does when he does this in this world, he does a tremendous toiva, as we're going to see in the shir, a tremendous toiva to the person. It shows that he loves him. Why? Because there was a din on him. He did something, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu feels that person is more on the cleaner side. So why not punish him in this world for whatever he did wrong? So when he comes, he goes to the next world, he's clean. The next world, there's no concept of time. It's forever. Every punishment seems to be everlasting. Here, they're temporary. So once you go to the other side, you say, whoa, how stupid was I? Why didn't I take the punishment? Why did I grumble about the punishment? You should accept him, b'sever panim yafeh, like you greeting a friend. Yes, that much you have to. You bend down your head. You know that it came for a person. You said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm accepting it. I know I've done something, and I don't know what it is, but, you know, you go through a process of tshuva on this. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is merachem, and Bes Hashem, you know, things are going to get better. That's all it is. When we have an Isayan and takes us in the throats, each one is tested to the core. But the emunah will make the difference. How you approach what's happening is exactly to the level of your emunah. And the more emunah you have, and the more you see the test, the more you have to grow your emunah. Not fight what's happening, but grow your emunah. You know you're in danger. You know you're on the cliff, and you're holding by your nails, and you need to get back up. You don't want to fall. Those people fell over the cliff. It's their thing. You don't want to fall. This is us 1,000 years after Korach. But Korach, let me describe you who he was, according to the Zohar in Pashas Tazria. You know that after the Tyra of the Metzora, we had to shave his head, all his hair, of his body. So it's called Kereach. Kereach means bald, but it's also the letters Korach. So says the Zohar HaKodesh that Korach was the biggest of all the Leviim. There was no bigger in Shevet Levi than Korach. And he was created by the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to resemble the Adam HaElyon, the upper Tzura, Kucha Berich. Korach was not a simple individual. He was the only individual on earth that was created not only to, like every human being, B'Tselem Elohim, to the image of God, but with powers, with internal powers that resemble the one of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's why he had to be from Shevet Levi, so he would be without hair, because hair represents dinim, and Zah does not have hair, So that's why. So what happened? So the Zohar describes. So when Aaron shaved, or the Kohanim shaved Korach, all of a sudden, he started looking at Aaron, who looked beautiful with the choshen, the ephod, gold. He had the tzitz on the forehead. He had his hair, he had eyelashes. He had everything. So he started looking down at himself. I look so weird. And look, the Kohen Gadol looks so beautiful. Why should I look like this? Here we go. This was the entry point to the Machlokes. You start seeing, you remember the Zohar, and Dari HaKadosh expounded on this. We learned that on the 10 commandments, the last one is the one that includes everyone. Lo yisachmoi, do not envy. Because the gate to the sitra Aharon, to the person, is through envy. And with this, he denied his future to be part of the exalted ones that can, even during their lives, they're part of the Elyonim. They're part of the upper world. They're like Malachim. And where did he go? To the other extreme of the world, to the lowest level of the Gehenna. And now he started with looking down at himself. Now he's really in a situation where he screams out of pain, because every day he's burnt in Gehenna, turned into Aether, turned into ashes, and then rebuilt the next day to suffer again another death. Think about the time, how many millennials passed since the time of Korach, and he's still in Gehenna, him, Dasan, Va'aviram, every day. Think an instant what this person is going through. For what? For being emotional? For letting go? For a moment of satisfaction to belittle Moshe and Aharon? You took an eternity of suffering upon you? Makes no sense. So how do we explain this? But the Zohar finishes on an upper note, saying that at the end of time, when it's going to be Tchias HaMeisim, Korach will be Zoichet to Tchias HaMeisim. Not really understandable how Russia that started, with Moshe and Aharon. That's what Rashi brings from the Tanchuma. Oisher, he brings a pasuk. No, we don't understand what this pasuk has to do with Korach. Oisher shamur lib alav lera'asoi. That his wealth was given to him, basically kept, but it means given to him for his own bad. When Oisher is written Ayin Shin Resh. When you turn the letter, is Russia. Always the rich guy has a much easier way to become a Russia than an Ani. So the Ani may not be in a good situation in this world, but towards the next world, he is on the pole position. Why? Because he needs that support from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and be able to grumble to Hashem. Mashen Ken, the Asher, is very much remote from all this. Not, I am. Ani Emloch. I can rule. I can buy people. I look down at people. Oisher turns to Russia. Very easily. That's Oisher Shamur Lib Alav Lera Asoi, for his own bad. I mean, I'm going to share a few, part of the Dvar Torah with you guys, but I don't know if I'm going to share the whole thing. But you would see, because even HaKorach got his Osher is also a soul. In this parsha, there's no way we can move right or left without having, soides here. But let's focus just on the Machlokes part, because this is the shir of today, and this is what we want to take upon ourselves in order to avoid. The Mishnah in Avos says there are 3 midas that takes a person out of this world. And the same way I've hacked you years over years about the mouth, keeping the mouth, saying that the mouth is what controls all the midas of in the person. By just cleaning your mouth, you mekadesh the whole pneumius of the person. And not only this, you're correcting all your bad midas. You have on the other side 3 midas that poison everything. You can have the best midas to become a chaya. Kina, taiva, kavod. When a person jealouses, when a person hates, create pirud, you hate. Why is this guy connected? Why is this guy doing this? Why him? You want to take him down. And we're going to analyze. Right now, I'm only in the Rashi Prakim, meaning I'm only on titles. But I will go down in everything so we can understand what it means. What it means making a pirud. And we know, we've learned that already before, that kina taiva kavod equals 600. Interestingly, I'm just going to open a door to see where we're going to go. Tzitzis equals 600. And which mitzvah did Korach choose in order to fight Moshe Rabbeinu? Tzitzis. So we don't know so far. Vayikach Korach. We don't know what he did. We don't know what triggered him. We're going to have to unveil through his words. We will unveil exactly what was his kavanah. The Gemara in Baba Basra, Ayin Dalet Amud Aleph, brings a story. Rabbi Chana was going through the Midbar and he saw this Arab shepherd. Whenever you see in the Gemara Arab shepherd, you know Eliyahu Hanav. Most of the time he appears like an Arab shepherd. Why? I don't know. I never try to think about it, but this is what it is. So he told Rabbi Chana, come with me. I'm going to show you where Korach and his old Ada were swallowed by the earth. Oh, Rabbi Chana was triggered. He knew everything is min hashamayim. This doesn't happen in a vacuum neither. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu want to teach him something. So he showed him 2 little mounts. On these mounts, there were cracks. And there was smoke coming out of the cracks. It was so hot there. I mean, the smoke, that smoke was really so hot because there was fire. So he wanted to show Rabbi Chana was happening. So he took a bowl of white wool, and he put it at the end of his spear, and he went over the holes, and the hole and the wool burnt. It says that's where they are, right there, and this is coming out of the Gehinnom. So he told him, now approach and try to listen. You're going to hear voices. So he goes, Rabbi Chana, he approaches those cracks, those holes, and he hears Moshe emes v'seirosoi emes v'hein badoim, meaning Korach and Adosoi say constantly in Gehinnom, Moshe emes, v'soirosoi emes, and them, the Ada and Korach, they're all liars. All right, nice story. You have to know, the Ben Ish Chai says that the Oyer of the Torah, when we say the Oyer Haganus was stored in the Torah, he says specifically in the Agatos of the Torah. This is where the Oyer is. So every time you see an Agata, it doesn't happen just like this. So I was looking for a Pirush on this, and I found the Kli Yakar wrote 3 Sfarim, ala Torah. He wrote the Kli Yakar, which we know on the Psukim. He wrote Ir Giboirim, and he wrote more Drushim. It's called Sif Sedas. So in Sif Sedas, I found that he spoke about it. In Ma'amar Resh Nun Gimel, he speaks about it. And he says, let me explain you know, what exactly happened there. He says, why did Korach, what did the shepherd take a spear? I mean, people in the Midbar, you see them, people walking with a spear, you don't see them. Why did he take, a bowl of wood? And he explains that Korach had kina on Moshe and Aharon. Why was Aharon the Kohen Gadol, and why was Moshe the Melech of Israel? And that's why Korach said, when they told him, when the whole hinging of the tzitzis, he told them, if this is it, then the Torah, I'm not going to say the rest. It was oiker, it was finished. It was oiker oil. How far the Kina took him that the greatest person that was created to the image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tuzah, up there. And that's why it says in the Pasuk, Behatzoisam al Hashem, because at the end of the day, the fire of the Machlokes that they lit up was against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hatzoisam. It means fire up. That's why he showed him, explained the Kli Yakar and Sif Sedas, that's what he showed him the two mount where Ashan was coming out. To show him that one, he had kina on Malchus, and the second one was because he had kina on Kehuna Gdoilo. That's how the Kli Yakar explained. The cracks show us what the Machlokes does, that it enables the Eish of the Gehinnom. It's not just the Eish of the Machlokes, no, it's directly the Eish of the Gehinnom. You know already enough, when we say Eish of Gehinnom, you know what it means. It's the Eish of the lily, of the Sitra Achra. It's her fire. Right away, she has a right to come and boom and burn. He took white wool because the face that has white hair is Arichampin, the Keser. The Keser is the older, has a look of older face. It's white. The Bgam of the Machlokes goes all the way up to the Keser. I'll give you a different touch. Now that I've read this, it's based on him. I didn't even write it, but I'll give you a different touch on this. You know that Ashan, it's an acronym from Sefer Yetzirah. Ashan means Ayin for Olam, Shin for Shana, and nun for nefesh, which means the whole entire world. We have time, which is the outer shell. Inside we have a world. And in this world, you have people, nefashos, you have a nefesh. These are the three Rashi Prakim of the whole entire world. In other words, he showed him two mounts. These two mounts are Chesed and Gvura. Korach wanted to change the world. Olam Chesed Ibane, he knew he could not get Kehuna Gdoila being a Levi. A Levi is from Gvura. A Kohen Gadol is from Chachma, is from the Chesed. He wanted to invert the whole entire world in order to say that you usurp the Kehuna Gdoila, and the Kehuna Gdoila should come to the Gvura. In other words, Korach, being unsatisfied with his situation, wanted to destroy the whole entire world, Olam, Shana, and Nefesh, in order to reach his goal of, and from there you will understand why Yaakov Avinu didn't want to be mentioned. Keep on the side of your mind just what Ha explained it, and you will understand exactly why Yaakov Avinu didn't want his name to be mentioned, and what does it mean. So what do we mention Levi? Could he daven? Like Yaakov Avinu not to be mentioned? I just want to bring a proof to this. To just what I say, I need to crystallize it a little bit because I'm going to go now deeper. I want at least for you to understand that part. You see, we have here a repetition. Ben, which I didn't have to mention, Ben Yitzhar, Ben Kias, Ben Levi. I'm going to get to this also. 3 times Ben is 52. 3 times 52, 156, right? 156 equal Kina. Now you know, Vayikach Korach, the pasuk is Merames here. What did he take? Now, according to the Zohar and according to the Sifsei Das, it comes right in the words. He took Kina. Who do you have in front on the other side? You have Yosef. You have 6 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's the 2 mounts. He thought taking a shortcut through Kina and reaching his goal. He denied Yosef, which is the Yesod, which is Shalom. That's what a person does every time he decides to go into a Machlokes. He takes the Yesod, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and basically renege it completely. He becomes a kofer b'koil. A Baal Machlokes is kofer b'koil. I don't want to add, because of what you know and what I went through here, I didn't want to add a lot, but some who wants to learn a bit more about the Machlokes and the destruction it does, honestly, because of this, I refrain from bringing a lot of Ma'amare Chazal on this, but someone take the Chafetz Chaim in Shmiras HaLashon Chelek Aleph, in Shara Zechira, and he started learning from Perek Tesvav on. I'm telling you, that guy will never go into Machlokes again. Let me put it boldly through the Mishnah. The Mishnah says in Avos, Ezu Machlokes shehi leshem shamayim. It says Hillel v'Shammai. And Sheloi leshem shamayim is Korach v'Hadassah. Right? First question you have here. why don't you say Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai? Why do you say Hillel Shammai? And why do you say that the Machlokes that was Sheloi Leshem Shamayim was Korach ve'Adasoi? No, it was Korach and Moshe and Aharon. Korach and Adasoi, they were on the same side. They were on the left bank. And they fought Moshe and Aharon. So why is Chazal, why the Tanaim HaKadoshim, why do they change the Lashon like this? Because this teaches you the only Machlokes that was ever Leshem Shamayim is only Hillel and Shammai, not Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. Already by then, they had a Negia. My Rebbe is a Malach Hashem, my Rebbe is this, and they already had competition. You know, they were on the prior stages of Avade, they didn't have Kina. Avade, they didn't have Sina. Avade, we know that Talmidei Beis Hillel was learning the Divrei Beis Shammai before theirs. They had covet for them, but already it was tainted. The Leshem Shamayim was gone. The Leshem Shamayim was only by Hillel and Shammai. To tell you that the real touch in the Mishnah, the only Machlokes that was ever Leshem Shamayim from the beginning of time till the end of times is Hillel and Shammai. Don't come here with Torahs that you're doing Leshem Shamayim. There is no Leshem Shamayim besides that. I feel obliged to add something here. Moshe Shabbos say that the para of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah came with the cloth in between her between its horns. The Gemara asked, I think it's in Shavuos, this one. It's in Shavuos. I don't know, because I was not planning to say this in this year anyway. So the Gemara is asking, Paraso shel Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah? You call this the para of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah had 300 donkeys carrying the keys of his coffers. And you tell me Paraso like he had only one para? Elamai, it was the para of the Shechina. The neighbor of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah had the para that was going out in Shabbos like this. And because Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was not moichiach that person, it's considered as, it was his own cow, and he was over on the thing. Now you would wonder, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was Nasi Yisrael when he was 18. You're talking about Gadol Shebegdoili in the Tanaim. Why would he choose to get a possible Isur de Rabbanon rather than telling off his neighbor? The answer is in Shavuos. I think it's Lamed Amud Aleph. The answer is there. Because Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah held in his time, nobody can do, or by then already, nobody can be Mekayim the mitzvah b'chleach tzrichiach es amisecha ve'loi sisa olav. You cannot. So it's better to say to remain quiet than to be mechiach and bring a chet and be over on a lav. Explains Rashi what it means. Ve'loi sisa olav chet. Rashi says means don't be mevayish him. If in order to stop an Isur you have to be mevayish him, then you're not allowed to speak. Look how far Torah went, had all these asay and lois asay get connected in order to avoid the Machlokes. Because if you mevayish that person, he's going to come with a vengeance at you, and it's going to be a Machlokes. And you triggered it. So now look at the Isur, from the nothing of a Isur, a Safek Isur de Rabbanan, you're going to come to the worst Isurim in the world. So shut up. Shut up. Yisol Hashem Shamayim. I've said too much already. I want to show you a pasuk here that the Midrash brought about Korach, Dasan, Va'aviram. Bnei Adam, people, in Tehillim, Nun Zayin, Bnei Adam Shineihem Chanis, their teeth are like spears, Vechitzim, and arrows, Ulshoinam, and the tongue, Cherev Gada, a sharp sword. And there's no reason to think why this is said about Korach. How can you tell me that it's said about Korach? By me, when the Tanaim speak, I know the answer is right there. You take Korach, Kuf Resh Ches. What throw the arrow? The Keshes. Here you have your Kuf of Korach. What is the Chanis? Is a Roimach, like by Pinchas. And Ches is the Cherev. That's indeed Korach. That's indeed we have here but now even more than this. Let's build on this. If we take this Keshes Roimach Cherev equals to a number 1,264. And the Pele of this is equals the Midas Erech Apayim Verav Chesed. You wonder, HaKadosh Baruch Hu never told Moshe Rabbeinu, oh, by the way, Korach is going to die by being swallowed by earth. Never said that. But Moshe Rabbeinu knew it. How did he know it? Sorry, this is times 2. Side mitzad kucha berichu, side mitzad the shechina, and I'm going to explain. Oh, what I was there, I should have shown you something else. Sorry. Again, how do I go? Share. The first time, I didn't bring the other psukim. The first time it says Keri'e Moed, it says without a yud. After that, I think it's a couple of psukim after that. I'm going to tell you exactly if I have them here. No, it's by the Machlokes. It says Keri'e with the yud. What's the game the Torah is playing here with this Indian changing the... I'm going to write it here. You have it once without a yud, and then I'm going to put V, and I'm going to add a yud. Why the first time they don't have a yud, the second time they have a yud? They're the same bad people, they died very bad. But here, now I'm going back to what I was telling you. How Moshe knew how they're going to end up. He saw through their way of speaking, he was analyzing their words, and they had the Korach. You know, he did the cheshbon in the letters for sure, and he knew that he was over completely on that pasuk. So now he did the begam in Rachel. You know, when I speak about the Shechina, you know her name is Rachel, so I'm speaking about Rachel. So far, in the Midbar, she was Rachel Imeinu. She went all Rava the Ravin. It's a pity. I could have explained this last week on the shir, but anyway, Min Hashamayim. Rava de Ravi. So means she is by the Keser like exactly Mincha on Shabbos. She is Rachel Imeinu, Kel Shakai, 345, Moshe, Kel Shakai. She's right up there. Comes Korach, everything goes well in Am Yisrael. Comes Korach and puts her all the way down. He comes running for Kavod. Is over what Avraham Avinu said, Vanoichi Afar Va'efer. He's going to become Afar Va'efer. The only time a person escapes the din from the Shechina pays back right away, is when the Yud Gimel Midas de Rachmim apply. When there's Erech HaPayim, patience, Verav Chesed, and still HaKadosh Baruch Hu does chasadim to the person. Then it's like a shield to the dinim. However, once Korach, with his mouth, he created a pgam in the Shechina, right away he knew that Mida keneged Mida, vatiftach haaretz es piha. The Malchus also opened haaretz. We all know that haaretz is the Malchus. We're in the Midbar with Aretz there. You're talking about Eretz Canaan, they're not there. Eretz Yisrael, they're not there. They're in the middle of the sand. So why do you say haaretz? Because we're talking about the Shechina. You open your mouth, Korach. The Malchut, you threw her. Now, from Rachel Imeinu to Rachel, she cried. Dim'ah, Dim'ah. 119 equals Rachel. You threw her to Elzar equals 238. Oh, which is the offer of the Nachash. You threw her there. You're going to pay the price. And that's how Moshe Rabbeinu, in other words, someone who goes into a Machlokes, you do not have to become a Navi. You do not have to be learning Kabbalah or anything like this. You know what would be the outcome of this. Now, the Chafetz Chaim talks about, should have not told you this. When you're chelek on a Beis Din, what happens when the Chafetz Chaim has it all there. Maybe I brought it in the Vort, the thing, but it's not something I'm willing to share. Now you take Keri'eh and Keri'eh, the one with the Yud, the one without a Yud, equals 632. Erech HaPayim Verav Chesed. In order to show us that them two have lost the midas of, so they had to go down. He'olu me'al Korach dasan va'aviram, from everything that belongs to them and the people, because they're going to be swallowed. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that the midah, can get midah, will happen on Rashi brings on the pasuk. He just his words is it was very well explained in the Tanchuma. Okay, so let's go into the Tanchuma. It's not very common that Rashi speaks like this, but so the Tanchuma brings a pasuk. You want to understand what it means. Vayikach Korach. He says. He brings a pasuk in Mishlei, Ach nifsha mikiryas ois. It's almost like, one of the heroes has fallen. Ach nifsha, nifsha here means he sinned. He was made to sin. He fell. And he was mikiryas ois, from a city of power. The question is, now Rashi, you're telling me he explains very well it's okay, the Tanchuma, let me finish you the Tanchuma. He explained what means Ach nifsha mikiryas ois ze Korach. Why? Because he was choilek on Moshe Rabbeinu, and he was moired. He has a whole perek there, the one who takes upon a machlokes with his Rebbe, on a thing, the Chavetz Chaim. And because he picked up a machlokes with Moshe Rabbeinu, he lost all his cover. And Nifsha explained it's merida. You moired. You wonder how this midrash happens to learn, and he goes learn a few more things from the rest of the pasuk, but you wonder how he learned it from this pasuk. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin Kuf Yud Amud Aleph, Omar Achizda, Kol HaChoylek al Rabbi keChoylek al HaShechina. What I was telling you, when you start doing a machlokes, especially on the Rab, you choylek on the Shechina. You create a bagam is created to the Shechina. Sheneemar be'atzoisam al Hashem. Even though they had not started saying words toward Hashem, but the fact that they were choylek on Moshe and Aharon, that told them Torah. And another explanation. Omar Rabbi Chama beRabbi Chanina. Kol aise meriva im rabbi. Now it's not a machlokes. You just fight. You disagree with him on something. Ke oise im Shechina. And outside the Gemara is going to go with a few examples like this. It's always with the Shechina. There's no such a thing that you're going to create a discord. A person will go into create. I shouldn't even call it by now Machlokes. I should create it, period. You separate yourself from the others, thinking you better. Am Yisrael is one, but you decided to exclude that person because he's bad. You decide. Basically, he remains where he is, and you are the one that being excluded. That's how the Shekhinah works. Why? Because as soon as a person, and the Chavetz Chaim speaks at length about it, and you have in Maseches Derech Eretz, you have, Midrashim, but I'm very much afraid to talk about this subject, that it should be taken that sure to be personal. I'm not interested. Those who know me well know that I flew way above this, and I don't even think about it. But just for you to know, because this is Torah, and I'm just teaching it, and we're just unveiling, what, and it's written black on white, Shmiras HaLashon. It's something a person should take with him and learn with his children, Shmiras HaLashon. It's just huge. It's a sefer we cannot let go one day without learning, one little part. It's a huge sefer. But let me tell you how far he goes. Okay, you hear me talking all the time about, the inyanim and everything. Why not apply it to halacha? I'm going to show you halacha lemaaseh now. Simin Kuf Yud Beis in Yeredea talks about bishul akum. Bishul akum, it's asa. Why? The Gemara says mishum chasnas, because you're going to get you there close to the goy, and maybe you're going to marry his son to his daughter. You have a son, have a daughter. I know him. This guy is not bad. He's not going to tell my son his daughter. Period. Bishul akum is asa. We know that someone who's not Shomer Shabbos, he has a din of akum. Many places in the halacha, it's Gittin, many places in Yeredea, many times, is as a din of akum. What's the halacha if a Jew, which is not Shomer Shabbos, cooked? Because he has a din of akum, also on this, he has a din of Bishul Akum or not? Now you have to understand, we're not talking about a guy who's cooking in his kitchen and brings you the food and you have a safek in kashrus. No. He's in front of you and you bought all sat meshrita, mehadrin, mina mehadrin, and he cooks in front of you. All the Michael is also. What's the din if that person is not a Shemesh Shabbos? He's a Jew. The Chazon Ish writes in a Cheshchita there, it's Simen Beis, Saif Cotton, Chavches, in Yeredea, because it's Cheshchita. Simen Beis at the beginning. The Michael is kosher. Says the Chazon Ish a huge zvara. Okay, you can say because Beyadol Asat Tshuva, you can kvetch to tomorrow. He brings Beshem the Chafetz Chaim because all these people today that we see that are not religious, they have a din of Tinek Shenishba. They don't have a din of Merida. Who is Moired? Someone who learns and all of a sudden, goes haywire like Korach. This is Moired in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This person, you can apply the din and is going to be a Bishul Akum. However, because his treachery is with him, he's going to want to treat you. He's a Chacham. He knows Acher, the Rebbe of Rabbi Meir. But today, someone is not Shemesh Shabbos, and you know what the Chafetz Chaim ends in Avas Chesed? You have a chiyuv of Avas Yisrael to love him like yourself. Because he's not moired. Look, now translate the words of the Chafetz Chaim on a higher halach. You see someone, to your eyes, is not acting properly. So now right away you know that Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says we cannot be Mochiach because we're going to trigger hatred. There's no one who knows how to be Mochiach, how the Torah prescribes it. But even more so, he's doing something that's completely incorrect, sheloi kehalach. You're not allowed to do anything that will trigger machlokes with him. If you are pirate from him, you create a machlokes. Oh no, it's Leshem Shamayim. Well, you show me how ignorant you are, because the Mishnah says clearly that only Hillel and Shammai had the machlokes Leshem Shamayim. From the rest of time, not with the Ramchal, not with Rabbi Avraham Abulafia, not with anyone else. It's not Leshem Shamayim. It's not Leshem Shamayim. It's not possible to have Leshem Shamayim. And not only this, the Chazon Ish Paskin. The Chazon Ish was Machmir Paskin exactly like the Chafetz Chaim, and he brings the Chafetz Chaim as a raya that you have to love him. You're not allowed to create a peer. Food for thoughts. Look, our words, we learn it in Torah Shebiksav, but definitely they apply in Torah Shebe'alpei Halacha. And I gave you one little halacha here, but there's so many halachas that come out of these inyanim that it's unbelievable. Time is passing, but it's such an important inyan. I didn't want to go fast. I want to go, I want to show you something, how the Midrash learned it. And now we're going to answer with that two questions at the same time. If we take this hero that fell, this equals to 1,338. This equals to Zehu, it is Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kehas ben Levi. You know why the Torah had to mention us? There's 3 generations. to tell you, and that's why Shlomo HaMelech is merames in this pasuk. It's exactly talking about Korach. The Midrash Tanchuma on Korach says, do you want to know who Korach was? Korach was like the biggest of the Levim, but he was from those who used to carry the Aharon HaKodesh on his shoulders because he was from the Bnei Kehas. Now you imagine Kehas, the Aharon HaKodesh was so pure, so that anyone who would approach it by like Nadav Avihu with Kedoshei Elyon, they still died. How? Because from the Kohanim, from the, you know how they used to carry it with the two, how do you call this? Not two bars. Menachem, help me. What's the name?
The poles?
The poles. With the two poles, they used to carry it. From the poles used to come out a sparkle, and that sparkles used to enter, even when he used to fight at war, he used to enter through the nostrils and burn the person from the inside out. So now Korach was, every time the Aharon was traveling, he was carrying the Aharon. He was one of the most important Levi, he was carrying the Aharon. And the Aharon would not kill him. To show you how the Kodesh Elyon he was. I want to get here to 2 points. I know I'm a bit behind, but I want to get to 2 points here that I want to show exactly why he picked on tzitzis, just to show you that he misspoke. And why he picked up tzitzis, because that's going to tell us about his inner motivations. It's not stam. So we know he's up there. We don't understand how he fell, but he spoke. And he spoke against the mitzvah of tzitzis. Mitzvah of tzitzis is the bond, to create a bond between, so it's a protection, to create a bond between Bnei Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The taina of Korach was if it's completely, it has the whole cloth is in tcheles, what do I need to have chutim? In other words, if already the Malchus is here, what do I need to have handlers from Israel? Why do Upsoicham Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is already with them. We don't need Moshe and Aharon. It makes no sense. He came up with a svara. Moshe and Aharon told him, you're wrong. We still need the chutim. It can be blue. We still need the chutim. One of the drushim that I wrote this time is about this taina and how strong this taina is. I really go in details. Here, I just want to give you the Rashi Prakim, as it's a very intriguing situation to have such a big person fall so low. So tzitzis equals also 600. It's kesher. You have all these knots, the 32 knots, or not. You have the yudvav knots on the tzitzis. No, but it's double, 32, yeah. Lamed base nesivos. So, but it's also gematria, sheker, the letter sheker, kinet taive kavod. When, as the Gemara brings down because you can always ask steers between the Gemara, how can the Gemara be choilek on the Midrash, on everything, because it's his wife that told him, He got beaten by the Nachash, his wife. Oh, she's going to suffer. She goes back into Gilgul, into Isabel. And she was, by the way, the Rama Mipano in Gilgul and Neshama says, she was the para of Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah, to show you how everything we were saying is mamish into a one circle. Everything is interconnected, because this is Divrei Emes we bring here. So Korach heard his wife says, you look ugly. Who did that to you? Aharon. Oh, and he looks very good, so he did it on purpose, so you cannot compete with him. Boom. He listened to her. The poison went into him and started thinking, and then he took it on. He didn't tell this Beshem, his wife, to the 250 people. No, he said it upon himself, on his own name, and came with spares why he was right. He was also the Gilgul of Cain. On Shabbos, I'm going to go into this, like Yisro, Moshe, what happens? How do we have the same situation of Cain and Hevel right here again? So there's a lot going on. But what I want to show you here, and B'ez Hashem finish on this, is Yaakov Avinu, Chazal said, didn't want to be mentioned. The Soidom al Tavoi Nafshi Ubikolam al Peichad Kevoidi. It didn't want to be soiled by the schmutz. Honestly, like we don't know Levi is the son of Yaakov. We don't know the Torah repeated so much these names. We don't know anything about this. What's the difference if it's written or not written? We know the words of the Torah carry a weight. So if they're not written, it's beyond the simple explanation that he didn't want to be mentioned. That's good when you're 3 years old, as a terrorist. But there's more to it. Let's go into this. We're going to take the word, and I mentioned to a few of you already, Yaakov. Yaakov itself is an acronym of Yaboik, what he did with the Malach. That's what he told Am Yisrael, and Ayin, which is equal soil. Okay, simple. Now, Yaakov saw danger with Korach. Why? He has here Yud, base, Kuf. Sorry. No. Just to put it black. Okay. So now, there's a couple of Yabog in the name of Korach. And now you understand why we had to mention all this. So he has already a power. He's a very powerful individual. He has the Yabog. What is missing from Yaakov is missing the Ayin. Yaakov said, please, don't give him the Ayin. Because then he's lost forever, and he's going to take down the drain, Bnei Yisrael. Yaakov Avinu struggled to have 70 nefashos to take to Mitzrayim, which included all the 600,000 neshames of the Bnei Yisrael. Why would Yaakov fear if Korach had a bit more knowledge, had the Ayin? What's in this Ayin here? I hope I wrote the pasuk. Let me copy it because it's going to go faster than writing it and put you the page 6. It is page 7. Besoidam al tavoi. Copy. Now I'm going back. Yeah. Can you see now? Yaakov Avinu says, Besoidam without a vav al tavoi nafshi. This equals to 1,820. Big number, but pretty simple answer. 10 times Yaakov. Yaakov in full power equals Besoidam al tavoi nafshi. Okay, what are you trying to say here, Yaakov? This is Soid times Yudke Vavke. Very good. I love it. It seems interesting. Again, what does he give you? This Soid time Yudke Vavke, this 10 times Yaakov. All the powers of the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu called Vayikra lo kel Eloike Yisrael. Yaakov Avinu reached the level of being a god. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu called him Kel. How do we know this? Because if you take Bereshis in full, Beis, Reish, Aleph, Shin, Taf, he can put it here and equal. You have all the soidos of Bereshis. If had he known this, Korach, he would have changed Ma'aseh Bereshis. Yaakov Avinu gave us this power, this soid, through the Torah, which came down through the Har Sinai, which is Tiferet, the Koach of Yaakov Avinu, the midah of Yaakov Avinu. But he did not reveal to us the other power that the other powers that can overpower anything in nature. In the Sefer Yetzirah, Avraham Avinu gave us more, but Yaakov Avinu didn't reveal to us. And Yaakov Avinu had even more than Avraham Avinu. And that's the fear. So he could have inverted. That's the soid. I told you, remember the two mounts, Chesed and Gvura. Had Korach known, he would have been able to invert Gvura and Chesed in the world and take the world down with him, as long as Aharon doesn't get Kehuna. And the proof is in the Midrash, when Moshe Rabbeinu went out to speak to Dasan Va'aviram Va'yamru Loi Na'ale, Moshe Rabbeinu says, you're going to go to Gehinnom. We take Gehinnom as long as we don't listen to you. That was his answer, the Midrash says. You can see that the irrationalism of someone who goes into a Machlokes, he does things crazy, and where does he end up? Gehinnom le'ol meyah. He has no ilam hazeh and no ilam haba. Yehi Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be madrich our path, our feet, never to encounter Machlokes. And if Chaz v'Shalom he comes our way, we should have the power right away to run and discard it, no matter what it does. Have the koyach to overcome and just get over it and forget about these individuals. All right. We'll see you on Shabbos, Bez Hashem. Okay, have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Call
Thank you
to
so much.
Bye.